I'm on here, so this person says only when I wear my good sweater.
If you need to hear that again, just call me up. I'll tell you, okay? Hey, we're here again with Jake and Tim at Classic Daily here in beautiful, what's this, Calcolin, Michigan?
This is Calcolin, just outside of Bay City.
Calcolin, Michigan. That's nice, man. It's a good name, very rural here. Hey, so we're here to talk about, obviously you're doing the M3 for me, and I've seen all your builds. He's got a great website. If you look up www.classicdaily.com.
.net.
.net.
Either works.
And you can see a lot of different builds here, but I am always fascinated because trying to find a builder is not easy. There's lots of people out there. You don't really know what they've done, or you've seen some work, but you really don't know to the level of your degree. But I'm always just curious about, so tell me a little bit more about like Classic Daily. Like, how long have you been in business? How many cars have you done? And is there a specialty that you like to do?
So we mostly do BMWs. We've done a few other non-BMWs, a couple of Grand Wagoneers, an Impala, C10, some other things, but mostly vintage BMWs. We like that 70 to 90, which this is kind of breaking the rule, but it's or not breaking. That's not a rule, but it's newer than most stuff that we work on. But it still falls into that niche. 2012, I think, is when it was a real thing, but I've been doing it forever because I did it in the summer times when I was a school teacher.
So wait a minute, you were a former school teacher?
Yeah, I was a school teacher. K-12 music.
K-12 music. All right, that's cool.
Yeah.
And how do you go from being a music teacher to doing cars?
So I had summers off. So the story is, I tell everybody, is I became a school teacher. I had summers off. I'm like, well, what do you do? So I bought golf clubs, and I went golfing 2 or 3 times. And I'm like, this is a waste of time. I don't want to go golfing. So for anyone that golfs, cool, go for it. It's a noble activity. That's not noble, but it's an activity. So
It is.
It is an activity. So I put the golf clubs in the basement. I bought a lift, and then I built 4 cars for one guy, and then I built a car for a guy in China, and then it just kind of spiraled. And then I went part-time teaching, and then I had known Tim through playing music, and so then Tim started doing stuff with us, and then I ran a building, and we went and I stopped teaching. And here we are, 8 years later.
So how many cars do you think you guys have done?
Between 40 and 50. I think there's 40 that I actually have documented with pictures, but probably closer to 50 or more.
And over...
full builds. That's
full builds.
That's full builds.
Yeah. What you can't see here, folks, is he actually has a full dyno in the room next door to us here. And how many cars do you think you've done?
Probably, I don't even know. I've only had the dyno since we've been in this building, so 3.5 years. But I don't even know. 100?
I don't know. You got to be rocking probably 4 or 5 a month at least.
Yeah, probably something like that.
Average it out, maybe.
And it's gotten, and sometimes we'll do a whole bunch. We'll do a car every day in a week, and then sometimes it'll be a month in between stuff. But a couple hundred, I would say.
It's kind of one of those towns' best kept secrets. You get guys come in. I didn't even know we were here.
Yeah,
we know.
Yeah,
that's why the sign is blank.
Yeah.
We had that conversation when I took my car for a drive. It was very interesting there. So let me ask you. So was there a car that was more fun to build, or it's more memorable?
Gosh. They're all fun. I like doing them all. I like the research and finding it, solving the problems. We did I think for the O2 we did that you met Ken out in California. His is probably really high up there because we were able to do a lot of stuff. It had a really nice stereo, and it had air conditioning, it had a really nice interior, and it had a powerful 4-cylinder turbo engine, and it was a very well-rounded car. Similar to what we're doing here. This is another, every little thing is done for a reason, and it's something that you're going to drive and get ice cream and go grocery shopping and do things with. That's kind of one of our directions. So probably Ken's car is probably one of the highest one.
Yeah.
Who did you like?
I don't think I did nearly as much of the fun work on that one as you. You did a lot of firewall replacement, something about that time in the shop is when things. I don't know if it was about about that time we built the plasma tape, and like things really just classed up as soon as we got our hands on that. Like, you know, making brackets by hand is cool and all, but unless you're going to spend hours and hours and hours making sure that they look great, it's hard to make them look great, right?
Right.
But this thing, I mean, it's a 5-minute cut. It's got edges. It's just the bender and all of that, and that all just kind of fell in right about the time Ken's build was going on. What else was it? There was something in the shop about that time I was working on it.
The IX, the IX, S54 IX.
I think that one I would probably put in a bin of cool builds, just because like it's so weird. I don't want to backtrack too far, but like when I first started working here, I had pretty limited mechanical knowledge, and to be honest, I think I still do, but back then, terrible, especially for a guy who had spent years in the Navy as a mechanic. Anyways, having an engine torn down like that, like, okay, we're going to take this and this and this, we're going to mate it with this, and for some reason, like, my mind was like, you could do that? Like, yeah, you could do that. You know, we got the heat to melt them together, of course you can do that, you know? So, like, during that whole time, for me, it was like a lot of rules are for braking, you know, or bending. And so, Ken's car, the IX, I think right about that time wasn't too hot off the back end of Vandy's M5. And
that was another Al's car.
Yeah. So a lot of that era and that time, I think, was just like, you don't have to take something the way they give it to you and live your life that way. It's like, break the rules, you know? It's like those lessons about it.
That's kind of what, you know, you guys are here to do. You know, the name Classic Daily. Like, when I think about it, now I understand why you picked it, because, like, you know, we're talking about, you know, modern cars are really awesome. If you look at them on paper and you're a marketing guy, you know, 0 to 60 in 4 seconds, they stop in, you know, incredible stopping times, they handle, they do everything. Except when you get in them, they don't put a smile on your face because they're super safety conscious, they all kind of look the same, you know, the sound is piped in, you know. And so there's all those things there, and, you know, and like you said, it's those little details. People want the really cool 70s, 80s, 90s cars, but they want them to drive like, they want to be able to drive.
Yeah,
right.
You want to be able to start it in the wintertime without killing your battery.
Right.
You know?
And you want it to be reliable. You want it to do all those things. So, yeah, that's really interesting from that perspective, and you guys have really done a good job. By the way, I'll never forget, as we're going through the build of this one, and you're making brackets, and I'm like blown away. It's like 5 minutes later, 3 more pictures come out, and it's done. I'm like, okay, that was amazing. Because I'd never seen metalwork be done like that.
It's the time difference between California.
Yeah, there's a 3-hour difference.
It is. You guys get to work a little earlier than we do.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, I think so. Your fabrication skills are like the bomb, right? I mean, it really works well for you guys, and I get it. So I gotta ask you this question: what's the best thing about doing these cars, and what's the worst?
We should start with the worst. The worst is when something doesn't sound correctly, or there's some sort of weird noise, or like today we went out to eat, and we pull in and it's steamy, and I'm like, what the hell? I've driven the car all over the place, and the upper radiator hose is leaking a little bit. So that stress of like something not going the way you're, I mean, that's, everyone gets stressed with that stuff. And maybe 5 years ago I would get really upset about it, but I think I've changed a lot in that. Like, okay, things are going to happen. You got to deal with it. It's going to be that way, and you got to fix it. So the worst thing is not ever the worst thing.
Got it.
The worst thing is never the thing. It's never. You're going to be okay. So
the worst thing is you never know what the worst thing's going to be.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I have a little different philosophy, I think, than a lot of people. But
what's the best thing?
The best thing? Meeting people, interacting with people, talking with different key people, people in the backgrounds of the cars they want, and the things that kind of that memory, that feeling, that the excitement that makes you smile. Like you were saying, you start the car and it's going to make you smile, and you're going to giggle, and then that's the best part. I mean, the solving problems, I love that, like solving problems, but I really do like meeting people and talking about that experience, because That's what it's about.
So so is there a car that you would like to build?
I don't know, the next one.
Got it.
I mean, I think I'd like to. I want to build a nice E30 for myself. That'll be the next one that that I need to spend, because I have a lot of good cars, but I don't have anything that are like super nice on my own. So that's the next one.
So a little bit of the cobbler's children thing going on
Yeah,
there.
because I get the itch. I get the itch. We get the itch. Building them and driving them. It's like, well, I'm not gonna. I don't need to spend my own money. I'll just keep playing with everyone else's.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Then you get a variety.
Yeah. And they come and they get to go.
Yeah, no, I saw that Mercedes. Is that a 124? I forget what.
The one back there.
Yeah.
I think it's a 250 SL.
The two. I forget what
It's
the
a
code
two.
name is.
Yeah. W with like a W123 or something.
Yeah, W1. But that's going to be a great car to stick an LS in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun. I mean, imagine it's going to become a reliable daily driver.
Yeah. It'll just be a nice driver.
On the E30, so I got to ask the question: is it just going to be a standard E30? What do you think? What do you think you're going to do if you're going to build the ultimate E30?
Oh,
what does that look
which one? Well, actually, I have a lot of them. So it'll be a sedan. It'll be a 4-door, just because I have a child, and it's nice to be able to, without having to crawl through the door. I don't. It'll be very nice, but it won't be too nice that I won't drive it. Like I mean, right now it's got faded paint. It's a 318 sedan, late model E30. Faded paint. I mean, chip and clear. That'll get fixed and it'll be nice. It'll be nice paint, but I don't want show perfect paint. I want something I can drive. Air conditioning, cruise control, and then the engine choice might change. Might kind of just be a different. It'll start with it's a 318, so it's got M42. It'll probably start with it'll be turbo first, and then I'll swap it to something bigger. So
when you get bored.
yeah, exactly. When I get bored, then I can go to something else, and then I'll take that engine and put that back in my 2002.
Got it. So you've been in business around for what? Is it 2012 till now?
Yeah, 2012 would have been the legal the business, but I've been doing it for forever since I was a kid. So that's 2021. So 10 years.
Yeah, it makes total sense. So when clients call you, what kind of questions do you get?
How fast can you do it? And that's probably the main thing is how soon can it happen? How much is it going to cost? And the answer is always the same. I mean, it depends on what they're going to do, and then I always explain it's always going to cost more than you expect, and it's always going to take longer than you expect because it's going to become more than you want.
Oh, I mean that's kind of a given. Having built a car and having built houses and stuff, you just you always set aside a certain percent of money. You're like, I know something's going to come up, or I'm going to want to change something. So anticipate it, but not everyone's the same.
Yeah.
One of the things you mentioned, problem solving. So, are you excited to go do the California bar thing?
Yeah, I think that's going to be exciting.
Yeah. So, as part of the challenge with this car that Jake's that's building right now is taking it back to California and actually making it legal. So, you have to go to the smog referee, the air resources board, so we've been working with the referee. It's very interesting. The state actually does want to help you. But then you have to go for that final inspection, so I think that's going to be fun.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to hear what we think we know. There's always the known knowns, then the known unknowns, and then there's the unknown unknowns.
Yeah.
And
I think we've covered our bases pretty well. I mean, we everything's there. So.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. So so I'm looking forward to it. So one last question: how do people get in touch with you?
Website, so classicdaily.net. You can email through there. You can text me through there. Email is always the best because we can tell us what you want, and then it's easier to reply that way.
Awesome. And then, what's your favorite sandwich?
Recently, I think it's been like a turkey, like a California Reuben. So turkey, what's that? Coleslaw Swiss. That's round rye.
Nice.
I've been into that.
Nice. What about you, Tim? What's your favorite sandwich?
Favorite sandwich? Man, I don't know. I had a French dip
That was
today. That was pretty
we
good.
both had the same sandwich, actually.
But
Yeah,
speaking of food, I don't want to talk about sandwiches. I'm teaching myself to like pickles.
yeah.
Here recently has been the thing. And I don't know what you guys got out in California, but the Walmart pickles, You find out wherever, like Michigan gets their Kroger's, wherever Kroger does pickles,
They're,
find the California equivalent. Don't be messing around with that Walmart pickles.
they're not the same.
I love it, man. Well, thanks for your guys' time, man. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.